Now, for the videos on the Comet browser, we're currently going to be using the Perplexity Pro variant, which will probably contain a few features that are not available currently inside of the free variant. So you'll have things like pro searches, and then you'll have the reasoning mode. And the reasoning mode is basically a mode where it goes a lot deeper into the thinking process. Now, some of these may be available in the free mode at a much lower level, and they will also be available in the max mode at a much higher level. So you'll find some of these things are not available for the free. I don't know if you can generate images in the free variant, but what we'll do is we'll go through the pro variant, and you can imagine for the max variant, which is I think $200 at the $200 a month at the moment, you'll have a lot more features, or at least a lot more capability to use these. Now, as it is on the Pro variant, I've never run out of searches, and I have actually not been able to use up all the quota for generating images or videos. So it's quite, at the moment, at any rate, it is quite generous, and it allows you to do most of the things that you can probably do also at the max level, just not the same quantity. Now, when you are downloading it, use the link that is available below, and you'll be able to get what they're saying is a month free for Perplexity. It is for a limited time, so at some point the offer will come to an end. But once you go in, sign in, and then ask a question, it should credit you with 1 month of Perplexity Pro for 1 month without any cost. And you also get to enjoy this cool graphic here, so that's pretty cool. Now, once you're signed up, you've got that month in which to use the browser and also Perplexity at the Pro variant. You'll be able to test out all the features at no extra cost. Now, I don't know how long this will last, and I don't know if it's available for folk who are already Pro users at the moment, but just try it out, see what happens. Now, if you missed the free period for trialing the Pro variant, it doesn't matter, because now everyone can actually install and use Comet. So it used to be just Pro subscribers were able to install it, but now almost anyone can. So we're going to install it, and we'll go through some ideas about how to install it to get the maximum benefit, because it's not necessarily going to be obvious. We'll start the installation, and it's going to download. I've already downloaded it, but it's going to download some more updates. Now, once we get to the launch stage, it does, or at least in my experience, it did actually ask beforehand whether I should pin the browser to my taskbar. And my answer to that was yes. I do find it useful to have the software pinned to the Windows taskbar. Now, as you can see here, it is beginning, and what I'll try to do is to try to change the recording setup a little bit so that you can hear properly what's happening on the screen. Okay, here we are. So in the Get Started section, I think we can cut off the sound if we want to. I'm going to keep it on for the time being. We can go ahead and import details from the other browsers that we've got. Now, most of my browsing is probably done in Firefox, so I'll probably import from Firefox. And we're able to import settings, browser history, bookmarks, and passwords. Now, for the best experience using Comet, they do say you want to import these in. And I think you can do this more than once. So you can actually import things from one browser and then from another browser. But what we want to do is to go for the browser that we use the most, the one that has the most data in it. That will allow the software to really benefit, or at least the AI part of the software to benefit. You can import later, but what I'll do is probably go ahead and import my default Mozilla, and you can give yourself a name for the browser, for the Comet browser. I'm gonna go ahead and give myself a name, and we'll choose maybe the dark variant for the time being. You can change all of these things later on. And then we've got some options for startup here, and you can choose whatever settings you prefer. We do get another option to add the Comet browser to the taskbar, and again, I find that very useful, so I'm going to keep that. Now, when you get started, currently they do have their own ad block. So I'm going to actually set that as default because I think that will be useful, because sometimes ad blockers can create all sorts of problems in the background. So we'll go with their own one, the Perplexity or the Comet one. I don't know exactly what to call it, but we'll go as much as possible with the default suggestions that Comet is making, because the feature set is pretty huge, and the more you allow it, the ability to process information, the more useful the browser actually is. So I've completed the sign-in process, and this is now working inside of the Comet browser. To complete the setup, to take advantage of the 1 month free Pro offer, what I did was that I basically went in and I asked a question. It didn't really matter what the question was. Then after asking the question, I went over to upgrade, clicked on upgrade, clicked on get Pro, and it goes straight back here. And at this stage, right click reload. And what that did was it brought up the Pro indication. It didn't actually do that initially, but what it did do initially was to bring up the Pro options in the picker for the models. So now we've got the GPT-5. We can turn on reasoning if we want to, and we've got Claude Sonnet 4.5. We can turn on reasoning. So those options are now available, and the little Pro sign is showing up inside of the logo. So that's an indication that the Pro offer has been activated. Like I say, I don't know how long the Pro offer is going to be available, but if everything works out fine, you should find that your account ends up looking like this, with a little Pro sign there and the Pro offer there, the Pro logo there. And that means you are good to go. Now, if you need to upgrade still, you can click on the upgrade button, and that will allow you to upgrade to the higher levels if you need to, and you want to take advantage of some of the more advanced features. But otherwise, you're now ready and good to go. If you can't get the upgrade, you'll still be able to continue using the browser in the free mode.